Guys, I'm Janine,
I'm David.
and welcome back to the Double Scoop. Today is going to be one of the not lighter,
Definitely not lighter.
um,
Much more serious.
more serious, but just a different type of video than what you'll see on Thursdays when we're at the gym working out. More of like the mental health side and maybe some of the other parts that go into a fitness journey. Such a big part of that for us is our respective body dysmorphias and what got us to where we are today. So we just wanted to kind of open up to you and talk a little bit about what led us here and
Yeah.
how we deal with it.
Yeah. So we wanted to share our individual journeys with body dysmorphia. And truly, so Janine and I haven't been together that long. And I have never truly heard how, genuinely, how your body dysmorphia started.
Yeah.
So I really am curious. Like, was it one event or was it several events leading up to something? What was it?
So I was definitely always a bigger kid. And I think that when I was growing up, I'm 30 now, so do the math. It was just less common for people to celebrate being like a taller or a bigger woman
Yeah.
or like a girl being taller than all my classmates, taller than all the boys. And so I was always bigger, but I don't necessarily think I was like super chunky like in
You're
school.
you're bigger in this respect of height.
Height for sure. And obviously, with being taller, I had the appropriate amount of weight on me. But,
Sure.
I played sports and I was fairly active. So it wasn't anything. Looking back, I don't think it was abnormally bigger.
Yeah.
I just fit my size.
Sure.
Um, But then when I was in college, um, got hurt, tore the ligaments in my ankle and,
Did you
had to have
play
surgery.
did you play sports that led to that or what?
So that particular incident actually was not sports related at all. It
Oh,
was at the beach. So had a really bad ankle injury, had to have surgery, was in a cast for a long time. But after that, I definitely was kind of over any type of sports, athleticism, really wasn't working out at the time. This was definitely before I got comfortable and familiar with the gym. Um, and then in my early 20s, I started bartending and just working in the restaurant industry. I would say you definitely pick up some bad habits. You start drinking a lot. Obviously, when you're drinking a lot more, weight can creep up on you just from all the sugars and alcohol.
sure.
You get off of work, you're hungry, you go to another bar that's open. What is
Yeah.
there to eat? It is wings, chicken
Yeah.
tenders, fries,
And getting off work as a bartender isn't normal hours. You're saying
No.
like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. So 2, 3 in the morning, I'm eating just fried foods,
Yeah.
drinking, hanging out with friends to kind of decompress from the day.
Sure.
Into the next morning, I'm in college. Of course, I didn't choose too many 8 a.m. classes and sleep in the mornings. I'm not going to the gym before class. So I think that is when I probably started to get a little bit bigger. But being a bartender, being a server, working in the industry, you're on your feet a lot. So you're
Hmm.
moving a lot. That probably kept my weight at bay because it was a physically demanding job. Fast forward a little bit more, don't have great habits. This is what I'm used to. But then I graduate college and then I get my corporate job, which I have today. When I say the weight just hit me like a ton of bricks, I was sitting at a desk for 8, 9 hours a day,
Yeah.
very sedentary, not getting any type of movement. And this, even the like shift or the adjustment from going from a bartending job to like my corporate day job, just mentally, I was so exhausted at the end of the day. I would
Yeah.
come home and go
Well,
right to bed.
it's a different kind of work.
Yeah.
Totally different. You're on your feet all day, making drinks, which you know every single drink known to
So
man.
automatic, I don't even have to think about it.
Right. And then corporate job, sitting at a desk, but thinking
Yeah.
all day.
My company, there's catered lunch every Friday. There's every snack you can think of in the office. There is sodas. Oh, some group or some affiliation is doing a happy hour. So you're getting drinks after work. We're hosting happy hour in the office.
Yeah.
And just that combination of every snack food, junk food, drink,
Hmm.
catered lunch, that you could think of, plus sitting down all the time, plus being so tired you're not working out. I just like ballooned.
So what would you say your weight was at when you were bartending, roughly,
I would say my weight was maybe 240.
when you were bartending?
Hmm.
And then
Maybe 250.
once you're sitting at a desk all day, what do you think your heaviest was?
Oh, I know. My heaviest was 330 pounds.
Okay.
And because I'm 6'1", it just crept up on me so much in a way that wasn't as noticeable. And even if you ask my friends who knew me back then, they'll say, we didn't even realize, like, they didn't even notice that I had
Yeah.
gotten that big.
Yeah. So at your heaviest, you were 330. What year was this?
2017.
Okay.
2017 is when I definitely got to my heaviest. And I kind of just had enough. Like, I didn't feel good in my clothes anymore. I just didn't feel comfortable, like, in my skin and my body. And I wanted to change. Uh, and I just knew that I was too young to feel that unhappy. I could never, oh, if you're, a normal person, let's say you accidentally rip your pants on the way to work, you could run into Target and just pick up a pair of pants. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, so many little things like that. Uncomfortable to fly. I remember a big one was a towel at a hotel, not even wrapping all the way around your body.
What made you realize, hey, I truly have body dysmorphia? It wasn't just like, oh, I'm overweight and I need to lose weight. It was,
It wasn't at my heaviest. It was after I lost all the weight.
oh,
January in 2018, I had weight loss surgery. So
uh-huh.
it's a vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and they cut out 70% of your stomach. So it doesn't change how digestion works. It just means you physically cannot eat as much. I was very fortunate enough to have great insurance that covered this. I had started to see a few people, like influencers or just other people on the internet, have really good success with this surgery. And I thought, I could really take this seriously and I could do that too. And I knew if I was going to undergo such a big surgery and such a huge change,
Yeah.
I was going to commit 100% and give it everything I had to make sure that I was successful, because I didn't want to be one of those people that, like, have the surgery and, oh, you gained it all back and
Yeah. Yeah.
was unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of that out there too.
So I think it's important to note you did the research.
Hmm.
You made sure you had a board certified doctor, like top
Yeah.
notch, best of the best.
Yeah. I went through that all the correct
You
way.
did it right.
I got a doctor local in town, very well known in the industry, amongst his peers. Went to a great hospital. Like, I
Yeah.
did all of that the right way. We're working with insurance to make sure I did everything before that surgery. So I
Yeah.
saw a nutritionist, I saw a psychologist to make sure that I was in the right frame of mind. I worked
Mm-hmm.
with a dietitian, I went to support groups.
Mm-hmm.
I had several follow-ups with this doctor prior to surgery to make sure I was following the instructions that he gave me,
Mm-hmm.
to say, hey, are you committed? Are you going to take this seriously?
So you do the surgery, you lose the weight.
I lost 140 pounds at my lowest. Lowest weight I ever got to was in the 180s. I don't know what that math is, but
Yeah.
I ate exactly like I was supposed to. High protein, low carb. Low fat, which is what they recommend for after that surgery. I was working out. I was doing spin classes 5 days a week. I started going to the gym and doing a little bit of strength training, but I definitely was not as well versed in that at the time. So it was mostly just high cardio.
Prior to the surgery, had you been active in the gym, or this was post surgery, new to working out, new to cardio, new to all of that?
I would say pre surgery, I'd been in the gym a little bit, but it was just kind of what I knew. Like, go
Yeah,
through the
just
machines, the circuit
yeah, just kind of
machines.
superficial. Oh,
Yeah.
I should be at the gym, and I'm kind of
30 minutes on
faking
the
my way through it.
treadmill or on the elliptical,
So you lose 100
40 ish pounds.
140 pounds. Holy crap! Good for you.
Thanks.
Lose the pounds.
Hmm.
Then what?
And that is when I had body dysmorphia. I was so small compared to what I had been. And even looking at pictures side by side, I just still felt huge. And I still was not happy with the weight I had lost.
So at 180 something
Hmm.
pounds, 6'1", you still felt huge.
Hmm. And I really wasn't. Like, that is actually quite lean for 6'1".
Yeah.
I think part of what contributed to that is when I got really small, I started getting all this attention I wasn't used to getting.
Mm,
So then it starts to question, like, am I, like, does this validate me as a person, like who I am? Because who I was, I
yeah,
felt like didn't change, but all of a sudden I'm getting attention.
yeah.
People are much more interested in dating me. I was
Hmm.
single at the time. I hadn't really got attention like that when I was bigger.
Yeah.
Um,
So it probably messed with your head a
yeah.
lot, thinking, oh, if I'm skinnier, people find me more attractive, but I haven't changed as a person.
And a lot. This was people I had known.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like someone who didn't know me before just kind of approached me when they probably wouldn't have before. There was my fair share of that experience, but people I had known for years, all of a sudden kind of coming out of the woodwork saying things like, oh, I've always thought you were so cool. I've always
Mm,
liked you and had a crush on you, but I was too intimidated to say anything,
mm.
which I didn't quite buy
You
and
think it's kind
didn't.
of BS because you didn't change,
Yeah.
just physically.
Yeah.
So
So,
that I'm sure contributed to a
yeah.
lot.
And so that was losing the weight, and just, I think that upward tick of attention really is what made me start to struggle. And I just looked in the mirror and I just didn't see the new, like, skinnier version of myself.
When you looked in the mirror at 180 something pounds,
I think 186 was my true lowest.
what did you see?
So 330.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
Or like
hate.
I saw loose skin and
Yeah,
just, oh, that's so unattractive and that's so
yeah.
hard to look at.
What comes next? You're 186 pounds.
So I started working with a therapist right after I had the surgery, because I knew I was going to need help.
And
Because
sorry to interrupt. How old are you at this point?
I think it was maybe 24.
Yeah,
Well, it's 2024.
it
I'm
is
30.
2024, but at when 2018, you were probably 24.
Yeah, I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
So I started working with a therapist because I knew I was going to need the help. And they recommended that in all the support groups I was a part of, all the materials
Which
said,
is great on your doctor, by the way,
mm-hmm.
to encourage that.
Yeah. And I know it's hard, and I got really lucky. I know finding a therapist takes a lot of work, and you don't always get it right on the first try.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to have found a woman of color as my therapist that I really connected with, and I felt she listened and was very
Hmm.
empathetic. And
Yeah.
because part of what led me to getting to be 330 was I did not have the right coping skills.
As far as.
Anything. So when it was time to celebrate, all I knew how to do was go out to eat and drink.
Hmm,
When I was sad, all I knew how to do was eat and drink. When I was
I see.
bored, all I
Eat and
knew how to
drink.
do was eat and drink.
Where do you think that came from? Was it a learned behavior, a taught behavior? What was it?
I think it was probably a a combination, like learned and taught. You're a product of your environment. And like I said, restaurants are
Yeah,
notorious for picking up horrible habits.
sure.
You had a hard day. What are you guys going to do when you get off
Yeah,
work?
let's drink and eat.
Yeah, let's go drink and eat. Celebrating whatever.
Hmm.
Let's go out to eat. Let's go to dinner. Let's go do something. Then also, I lived alone, at this time.
Yeah.
Bored at home, don't know what else to do. Food makes
Now
me
let's
feel
grab a
good.
snack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So 24 years old, you still see 330 in the mirror, but
Mm-hmm.
you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing a therapist who
Mm-hmm.
can relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what what is? Do you want to share some of what the therapist said? If you're uncomfortable with that,
No.
that's okay.
Um, from the therapist, I mean, just kind of talking through a lot of things and really processing with my emotions, and, how better to kind of deal with stressors at work, stressors at,
Hmm.
with family or with friends or relationships, and just having somebody to kind of really talk to, and
Yeah.
just another outlet for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just another place where you're seeing progress. And it helped me outside of therapy if I was upset or really frustrated with work. You know, I know I've been working with my therapist to process this better, or really just know and compartmentalize, this is work, it
Yeah.
stays at work, it has nothing to do with the rest of me. It's almost like when you are on track with your meal plan and your workouts, you don't want to blow all that
Sure.
by, going and getting a blizzard from Dairy
Yeah.
Queen,
Yeah.
because you've been doing so good. And it kind of
Yeah.
got to that place with therapy as well. When I was struggling, if I was struggling with anything mentally, I didn't want to revert back to old habits that I had been working to unlearn because I had
Yeah.
been doing so well with moving past that.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, the therapist wasn't just focusing on your weight. It was how to cope with work, how to cope with stressors in life, how to
Hmm.
cope with whatever it may be,
Yeah.
and kind of relearning behaviors,
Yeah, exactly.
learned behaviors,
Hmm.
the stress eating or the bored eating or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yes.
How long did you see a therapist?
Almost 3 years.
Same therapist,
Hmm.
or wow, I love that you found the right one for you.
Yep. So I saw her for almost 3 years, and I really got to a good place to where I decided I was ready to take a break from therapy, which I think it's kind of like you've got to leave the nest
Sure.
after a while
Yeah.
and put into practice what you've learned, what you've been working on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, during my break, my therapist switched her insurance, so she no
Mm,
longer takes my health insurance.
okay.
So I have not resumed therapy, but it is something I am,
But if I'm doing the math, you're 27 and a
yeah,
half ish, somewhere around
hmm,
there, 27
probably 28 at this point.
when you stop the therapy.
Or 27 stopped therapy, and then sometime after a year, after, within that year
Yeah.
later, she changed her insurance acceptance. So,
Okay. So we said we're going to be honest on this channel.
hmm,
You're not 180, whatever, right now.
correct.
Um, so you have gained some weight back.
Hmm.
Where is this coming from? How do you deal with it?
Honestly, I think a lot of this came from, again, just not surrounding myself with the right people, if I'm being 100% honest. And when I say that is, I mean being around people who do not share like interest and like
Mm,
habits. After I, was at my thinnest, you know, different friendships and relationships and just environments I was putting myself in were not with people who were like minded,
yeah.
weren't interested in going to the gym, were very much still deep in that restaurant industry culture. So eating out all the time, going out to eat, going out grabbing drinks and
Yeah. Yeah.
celebrating, not going to the gym because they're hungover from the night before, and trying to maintain these friendships and maintain, waking up for my 9 to 5. That left no time for the gym, no time for fitness. And it was very isolating to choose myself and my health over my friends at the time.
So you have the corporate job.
Hmm.
You're stressed at your corporate job.
Hmm.
She does have a very stressful job. Um, you're learning these new habits through therapy and how to cope with them, but it is, and making time for the gym, but maybe not as much time as you would like.
Yeah.
So, and this is just me speculating because I truly don't know. Um, so maybe falling back into old habits after therapy,
Yeah,
or
I would definitely say so. And even towards the end of my time with my therapist, that was something that I had talked to her about, was struggling with prioritizing myself and my goals and taking away from filling my social cup. I'm
yeah,
very big on, everybody has different cups that need to be filled, whether that be your job cup, family cup, friends, relationship, religion, if that's
hmm,
something that's important to you, your health and wellness. Like everybody has different cups. And, perfectly ideal world, we would fill all these cups all the time.
yeah,
But it doesn't quite work like that. And sometimes it takes pouring from one bucket to fill another.
yeah,
And I had just not been filling my health and wellness bucket for a really long time. It had been empty
yeah.
because I had been trying to keep kind of some of those other buckets full.
What do you think? What bucket were you trying to fill the most? Were you trying to fill your corporate, your work bucket,
I
your
would
friends
say
bucket?
work and friends for sure.
Yeah, you're putting too much time into that,
Hmm.
making it a priority instead of
Yeah.
your health.
And again, it was almost a double hit because if I were to, it just felt like I needed this socialization, and taking away from that to do something else that was equally hard, like get back into a routine with the gym and to eating
Yeah.
right, that really depleted the social bucket.
Mm.
And I just, especially, I don't know, maybe without therapy, I wasn't in a place where I could do that.
So what pushes you to fill the social bucket? Why do you feel this need to fill this social bucket more than the health bucket?
I think because my part of it is my job is so stressful, but it's also very independent and solitary. I can just sit at a computer all day long and crank out emails and not talk to a single person.
Yeah.
And that is just doesn't feel good for me. I'm just a people person. I
Hmm.
am an extrovert. I recharge my batteries by being around other people and doing
Yeah.
other things. And it almost gives me anxiety to be alone, to not, yeah, to just not be around other people.
Clearly, we touched something sensitive, so I'm going to push you. So, but why? So why? Why does that? Why the need to be around other people and to be?
Just don't like to be alone.
Has something happened that
No, I, had a great childhood. My parents are still married, and I just get anxiety from being alone.
you just hate being alone?
Hmm.
Interesting.
Like, even when I lived alone and we had like hybrid, like, or work from home days,
Yeah.
I would rather go sit in a busy coffee shop or sit at a restaurant bar and just put my headphones in and work. And I still don't even need to talk to anybody, but just being around other people
Hmm.
helps fill that up a little bit.
Just being in the presence of other people helps fill your social bucket.
Hmm.
This is new to me. Just understanding that, because
Yeah.
we have very opposite needs for social bucket.
No traumatic event. I just get anxiety from being isolated.
Is that something you ever talk to your therapist about,
Yeah.
or
And we kind of agreed that if you need to go sit in a coffee shop, do that. Even though I got a 9 to 5 after college, a lot of my friends were, career industry professionals. So they would still be at work, and, I'm working all day, they work at night. This is how we catch up and see each other, is I go sit at their bar.
because they're still working, you're
Hmm.
done with your 9 to 5,
Yeah. That's how we go
so
hang out. Just keep them
you
company
need
all
to
night
fill your
long.
social bucket.
Hmm.
Also, probably a benefit is that you're friends with them. You don't necessarily have to pay full price for everything.
Yeah.
So, hey, discount, Janine.
Yeah. Come hang
Let's
out with me for a little
Let me
while.
give you a couple drinks
Yeah.
and we'll hang out.
Mhm.
I mean,
In
that's
that time, that is how my weight creeped back up. And
yeah.
nobody I'm friends with is interested in prioritizing waking up and going to the gym. We're always going out to eat. Why would I buy groceries to meal prep at home just to throw those away because I went out and ate already? You didn't cook at night. You don't have anything to bring for lunch the next day. Guess you better order out for lunch and order something on
Mm-hmm.
Uber Eats.
Yep.
And then it just starts to creep back up.
You gain the weight back by 28.
Maybe, I mean, I gained some of it back. Like, I had not regained to my full heaviest, but I
No,
had,
definitely not the 330,
yeah.
but the sum of it
Hmm.
to what you are now.
No.
Okay.
So I probably regained up to 295. And then I,
Well, you're definitely not 295 now.
no, I'm not. I regained it to 295 probably by this time last year.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not doing this again. I did not learn all that I've learned. I did not work as hard as I've worked to get back to exactly where I was before. I still have the tools, I still have the knowledge and the will to take control of my weight and to reel this back in. And so I started to fill that health and wellness bucket a little bit more and take away from the social bucket.
Where'd you start? What'd you do?
I started by resuming going to a bariatric doctor. That is the specialist that does weight loss surgery. And I had to find a new one because mine actually had passed away
Mm.
since he had done my original surgery. And his practice closed. He was a one man show. So that was totally gone.
Wow.
And I'm very fortunate that I found another doctor in another practice because it's not uncommon for bariatric doctors to not take patients that are not theirs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they
Because,
haven't done surgery. They don't know
mhm,
your past. They don't know any of
mhm,
that. So of course, it's a risk for them.
right. But luckily, my doctor was so well known in the city, in the area, it was not a secret that he, unfortunately had passed away. So, being that I was a patient of his, a new doctor accepted me and, kind of got back in with this other doctor in a new practice. And then I actually started Ozempic.
Okay.
which is marketed on label for diabetes patients, but can be used as a weight loss
Yeah, as we
supplement.
know, a lot of famous people. I
Sure.
mean, it's all over the news.
It's about $1,500 a month.
Jeez.
But at the time, my insurance covered it. And I got on that as an attempt to jumpstart weight loss, and that's what it did for me. That was January of
This time
last
last
year.
year. So how long were you on Ozempic?
I was on Ozempic I had to stop in May. That was when insurance stopped covering it for me. So 5 months.
5 months. How much do you think you lost in those 5 months?
40 pounds. And I had to, unfortunately, abruptly stop it. I just got a letter in the mail saying, hey, we are no longer covering this drug for you.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was very nervous because I wasn't able to kind of wean back off or taper off. And I had heard.
You just stop cold turkey, and that's, as we've heard, that's risky. So you get a letter, you got to stop cold turkey. You lost 40 pounds. Were you going to the gym also at this time?
Yes, I had started going to the gym, I think after the first month and a half, just to kind of let some of the side effects from starting the medication wear off, because they did come with some nausea.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have to relearn how to eat because you're not as hungry, which is part of why it helps, but having the energy to then get up and go. So I probably started going back to the gym in February, and it was just either the gym in my apartment at the time, or I have a Peloton, riding that at home, and making better choices with eating. And then I joined some friends of mine at a CrossFit gym, which I had done, in college, once before, and had experience with that, and having friends that go to the gym,
So it was two buckets. You got your social bucket and your health bucket.
Exactly. That was how I lost the 40 pounds. And I was starting to, feel a little bit better. And when I stopped the medication, I knew I did not want to regain the weight. I was very nervous about that. I just told myself, use this as a reset, use this as a jump start. You know how you need to eat, you know how to count calories, track macros, work out in the gym, and do what you're supposed to do. You can still do this even without the medication.
Yeah. And how has your experience been since you stopped the medication?
So I have not regained any, but I have not lost any either.
Okay.
So I think that brings us up to where we are now. I am definitely on more of like a recomposition journey where I am focused solely on strength training right now and building up muscle. And I think being that I have been consistently eating very well, consistently putting in solid work at the gym, and the scale is not changing, but I'm starting to see changes in, my body, and my muscle definition shows that I am, in doing this recomp as well as anyone can be. And at my bariatric doctor, the scale they do is a full body comp test, similar to what we did at our gym when we started this channel, started this journey. So actually in 2 weeks, I go back, and I'm very interested to see how those numbers have changed from September, which is still after I stopped Ozempic, to now.
If you weigh once a week, every 2 weeks, a few days, your weight is typically
it's all
within a pound or two. And I mean, honestly, I've seen it. I mean, you're definitely getting muscle. How do you feel physically?
I feel good. I still know I will always be a bigger woman. I'm tall. I'm not going to be a size 4 ever in my life.
And for the record, I don't want you a size 4.
I know that is not how I'm meant to look, but I want to feel strong, and I don't really care about the weight on the scale. I care about how I feel in my skin, how I feel in my clothes. And so I'm good with kind of wherever that ends up being.
How do you feel, for an example, say April, when you were on Ozempic, before you knew that it wasn't going to be covered by insurance anymore? So April, is there a difference between how you feel then and how you feel now?
Hungry. Ozempic suppresses your appetite.
Your appetite, yeah.
But
how do you deal with that?
I mean, at the time, it was kind of great because you're not going to binge eat, which is definitely one of those coping mechanisms.
Sure. But now if you're hungry,
it doesn't bother me because I eat very well. I probably eat clean 95% of the time.
Yeah.
So if I'm hungry, I know exactly what I've eaten all day, and I'm fueling my body correctly. I just went to the gym and worked out for 2 hours. I'm going to eat. And I don't feel bad about that.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. Yeah. Then, so you guys know, Janine tracks all her stuff. I do not for me, but she tracks for herself.
You know, if I've eaten great all day long, I'm getting in my protein, my carbs are good, my fats are good, my calories are where they're supposed to be. I know what I've done in the gym. I can eat this. And
Mm-hmm.
some may say that's not healthy. And I don't track, I think, to an extreme. Like, I'm not sitting here having a panic attack if I didn't weigh out my chicken for dinner. I'm at a place where I feel like I have a healthy balance when it comes to tracking. And a lot of times on the weekends, I don't track. I
Yeah.
eat a little bit more intuitively.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I have a great day and I track everything because it was easy to be measured for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or breakfast, lunch, snacks, and then come to dinner and I made chili, it's a bowl of chili. It's ground beef, kidney beans, tomato sauce. Like,
Yeah. Like,
it's fine.
you don't care to track that because you know what you ate the rest of the day
Yeah.
and you're comfortable.
That bowl of chili is not blowing my macros out of the water.
Sure. I think you are doing it in a very intuitive, natural, just comfortable way that works for you. And I appreciate that because the last thing I want is for you to be stressed out about every single thing you eat.
Mm-hmm. It just brings me comfort, I think, to know, hey, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're
Yeah.
on track. You're working out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think tracking most of what I eat helps with me not seeing the scale move.
And
So if
so
the scale
you're
doesn't
okay.
move, that must mean the recomp is recomping
Right.
and I'm not doing something wrong.
Yeah. So you used to go out and drink with friends and
Mm-hmm.
whatever every night. Have you cut back on alcohol consumption? Have you
Oh
cut
yeah.
back on the fried foods? How
Oh
has that
yeah.
changed?
Um, Now I pretty much exclusively drink on weekends unless it's something like a work event or a nice dinner during the week that I have to go to. Occasionally we will do a date night and I
Mm-hmm.
will, you know, enjoy a glass of wine or two at dinner.
Yeah.
But I pretty much exclusively drink wine now and it's pretty much just on weekends. I cook 90% of what I'm eating
Yep.
and I just don't go out to eat quite as much as I used to. And I don't regret making those changes. I do also feel like as we get older, and I have a really good friend, she's joked for years, just wait till you hit 30, wait till you hit 30.
Mm-hmm.
And hitting 30, alcohol just doesn't feel the same anymore.
I can promise you it doesn't because I'm 40, and no, it does not.
Eating crap just doesn't feel good
No,
anymore.
it
And
sticks to you.
I just feel so gross. A really easy way to not feel like that is to not, you know, go get hammered on a Wednesday
Yeah.
and to not try to wash it down with a pizza or, you know, a bucket of chicken from Popeyes or whatever,
Yeah.
or chicken wings.
Yeah.
So, really just taking care of myself so I feel good and can get up. You know, like we mentioned a few times, my job is stressful. If I want to be able to get up and start working and feel effective at my job, I need to make sure I am fueling it correctly at night, the night before. I really have no regrets about it. I sleep better during the week. I'm actually able to get up in the morning because even though we typically work out together in the afternoons, sometimes if I have something going on after work, I won't be able to come home
Yeah.
and do that workout, which means guess what? I have to go at 5:30 by myself.
5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I was drinking the night before, if I was eating like crap, I'm not getting
You do
up.
not want to get up. Yeah.
No.
As far as your body dysmorphia now, what do you see when you look in the mirror?
Exactly what's there. You know, my current 260 self. I see myself gaining muscle and definition, and
I
I
mean, I
feel
saw you flexing in the mirror the other day. You're getting some muscle. I like it.
and I see progress. Sometimes I feel like it's a little hard because I wish I saw myself getting skinnier, but that is not necessarily the goal. The goal is to be healthy and the goal is to be
Yeah.
strong. So some days it's maybe doesn't feel amazing, but it's a work in progress and I know I'm doing what I can on my side to
Yeah.
put in this work. So I just have to, you know, trust that I'm doing the work and it will eventually pay off. Like it's going to take months of
Sure.
consistency.
Sure.
And
And
I know that. And I just have to constantly remind myself this takes more time. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Just keep it up and the results will follow.
so goals. Goals now. We've talked about you wanting to gain muscle,
Mm-hmm.
decrease fat,
Mm-hmm.
is there a weight goal or no? It's just
When it comes to my weight goal, I like to keep it realistic. I know what I'd like to feel like I look like in the mirror. I want to still feel soft as a woman. I still want to have curves, but I do want to have
I
be
I still want her to have curves.
I still want to see, a little bit more muscle definition than I currently have, feel a little bit more cut in certain areas. If I get to this point where I love what I'm looking like aesthetically, I will not care what number on the scale that is. If that ends up being I can achieve that look at 260, then I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
If that is 250 or 240 or 230 or whatever it looks like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay. So I don't know that I have a number in mind
So you
right
don't have a
now.
number, but you have the look that you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
We know you want to gain more muscle
Mm-hmm.
and lose some fat,
Mm-hmm.
but the number is
Open to,
the number.
yeah, whatever that ends up being, I'm totally
So
fine
who
with.
cares what the scale says as long as the body comp that we're tracking shows the muscle increase and the fat decrease.
Yes, that is my ultimate goal.
Yeah. And you had mentioned before losing weight, the loose skin, that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Just are you?
Well, I think with building muscle, it kind of will fill up the loose skin
Mm-hmm.
some. If I end up losing more fat, there may be some now. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah. Are you self-conscious that you would want extra skin removed,
I don't think
or
I'll ever
just
have enough loose skin to feel the need to get it removed. If anything, now it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I used to be bigger. I lost a lot of weight.
that's my girl?
um, I don't think being that I was younger when I lost weight, I think that helped with some of my loose skin stretch back. That is not always the case for people that are older when they
Yeah.
lose weight, whose skin has been stretched for longer.
Yeah.
Um, it is what it is. That's my story.
Any? Yeah. If you guys have seen Hank in the first video we put out, I want you guys to know that Hank is actually very close to being an emotional support dog. And when he sees one of us upset, he comes to comfort. So before having an emotional video,
You're
you'll
probably going to see him poke his head in.
you'll see Hank just to check on us. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to share?
For myself and for anybody else going through um, any type of weight loss or fitness journey, I don't like to restrict it to just weight loss. Truly, it is fitness, health, and
Yeah, it is.
wellness.
Yeah, it is mental and physical.
Yeah, it's all encompassing. The journey is not linear. It
No.
is you're going to have some really good highs, some really good lows. Life will hit you in
Mm-hmm.
ways that feel like it's going to totally derail you, and it might for a little while, but that all that matters is you kind of just get back on track and keep focused and come back to what you know, um, because you are capable of so much, and people are
Absolutely.
so resilient and so strong, and the support is out there. And if you feel like you are not getting the support you need from the people in your circle, if they're not supporting your goals, you know it is you got to
You're in
take
the
a
wrong
hard
circle.
look in the mirror, and I think that's what I
Yeah.
had to do, and it was something I really struggled with.
Yeah. And if
um
you're in the wrong circle, reach out to us. We will be in your circle.
Happy to. um yeah, it's not always easy to make some
No.
of those hard choices and to kind of remove yourself from what is no longer serving you. My dad has this expression that he said my entire life growing up, and I know he's watching this, so dad, this one is for you. um Bad associations will spoil useful habits, and that applies to everything.
Say it again.
Bad associations will spoil useful habits.
Very true.
And whether that be like these people keeping you out of the gym,
Mm-hmm.
are these people,
Keeping me at the bar at 2 a.m.
that, or are they, keeping you from getting your work done in the office? Are
Yeah.
they keeping you from, are they, making bad choices and having you do stupid stuff that might get you in trouble with cops or whatever it may look
Sure.
like? Surround yourself with people who are like minded with similar goals, and it will carry you very far in life.
Yeah. Very, very true. a lesson a lot of people have had to learn the hard way, including me. I just want to thank you for sharing. Clearly, I love this woman. I want to thank you for sharing because a lot of this I didn't know. Um, Seriously, thank you for just being so open, honest, sharing your journey. I would love to learn more. I'd love to share more. I'd love to help any of you more. Um, like we said, we just really hope this channel helps anyone, even just one person. Um, so thank you,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
You're an amazing woman.
Oh, thanks, babe. Love you.
Love you too.
Ugh.
On that note, we were going to actually share both of our journeys today, but um, I don't think that's necessary. Your journey is amazing. It's inspiring. It's uplifting. It's everything people want to hear to get motivated. And we can share my boring journey another time.
That's not true. It's
Um,
not
I
boring.
I truly think you're a very motivating person, and I'm inspired by you daily.
Thanks, babe.
So, on that note,
I think that's all we got today.
double scoop is out.